State and local government operations committee meeting. I want to first let everybody know that we're going to start off with a good bill from about Savannah, Georgia.
That's right, man.
Said it's a good thing to do. Said and I don't see Dr. Watson. Said who has the bill. So Senator Marlowe, would you mind kind of walking us through what you got on it first?
Absolutely. I represent the second in Savannah. So, Mr. Chairman, this is a very simple bill. This bill allows for municipal governments to lease recreational arenas, sports field stadiums, or facilities from 5 years to a maximum of 20 years. The reason for that is we've got a pretty awesome arena that we just built in Savannah, and we also have a baseball stadium that's very historic. It's old. It's the historic Racing Stadium. We've got a team called the Savannah Bananas. I don't know if you've heard of them. They've been on ESPN. Each of them, we have the OVG group, Oakview group, here with us, and they want to make investments to help make these facilities better. But with that investment, they're going to need a longer lease term to justify the investment, especially in an asset that they don't own. And so we want to give them the opportunity to know that if they lease this property for 20 years and made substantial investment, that they knew that they would have this facility or venue for the next 20 years. Not in the current structure with the 5-year lease would that be acceptable. If you made, a $20 million investment or even a $5 million investment, you wouldn't want to have to renew your lease in 5 years. You want some longer provisions in there. This bill would just simply allow municipal corporations to do that, so that for the purpose of recreation, you can get private business to invest in public facilities, and then in turn they get a longer lease term. I think I have given a pretty good summation to that bill. I know we've got the OVG group here from Savannah who is also here to testify on the bill, but Mr. Chairman, I will let them testify, but I will yield for any questions if there are any through my synopsis.
Are there any questions? Senator Williams, you're number 9.
Thank you. I understand your reason and everything, but I want to go back to line 37 where it talks about the liability insurance. How would a municipality know whether or not the leasee let their insurance lapse?
So they would submit usually annually a COI, certificate of insurance, and you will name the city of Savannah, the mayor and alderpersons as an additional insured, and the certificate will be filed within the clerk's office, the city clerk's office, and they usually have a notation when that certificate of insurance is about to expire, and so then they will notify the leasee, hey, your certificate of insurance is getting ready to expire. We need you to furnish us with a new COI and name the mayor and alderpersons of the city of Savannah as additional insured, and so they will know if they don't have insurance when they don't produce the certificate of insurance, because you have to name them as an additional insured on the policy, because it is involving public money used to build these facilities.
Could I follow up?
Sure.
Yeah, and I understand that, but what we see in drivers, people driving cars on the streets, they'll go buy insurance the next month that lapses. They didn't make a payment. They've got a certificate of insurance. What I'm just looking after is trying to make sure that if that insurance, because of the litigious society we live in, that the municipality is notified immediately if that insurance lapses. Is there something we can put in there? I'm not saying this would happen in this situation, but I'm just saying in general, all over the state.
Chairman Williams, if I might, said as a local government manager for 20 years, that was never an issue. Said that came up.
Really?
For us, what we always knew that okay, we've got that, and if that insurance were to lapse, we were first on notification because
Okay,
we had a
that's
vested
good.
interest in that.
Good.
So,
Yeah, that's what I just want to make sure that they're notified. Yeah.
yes, sir. Said are there any other questions? Well, at this time, I'm going to go ahead and call this for a vote. We're talking about LC 472160. Is there a motion?
Two pass.
Motion do pass from Senator Williams. Second from Senator Watson. Said all in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 4-0. Good job. Get one down, next to go. Anybody bring their leaf blower with them?
I heard one outside.
It was doing a good job too. That's always nice. Said we're going to get to talk about leaf blowers this morning. And so if I can, said the Senator Still, said our own committee member here, and you're number 5, so you can present from your seat, or you can.
Thank you.
Whichever way you want to go.
I would be happy to. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, committee. We are presenting the Landscape Equipment and Agricultural Fairness Act. This bill does not suck, it blows. We are about blowers, and this is what we're here to talk about, is the importance of local control. There's a lot of misconception about this bill. A lot of detractors on this have falsely represented that it is designed to eliminate local control, and in fact what it does is enhance it. Leaf blower technology has increased significantly over the last 20 years. A lot of the data that's floating around out there is based on very old emissions data. Leaf blowers today, even the 2-cycle engines, are at low, close to zero emissions, and this is a preemptive bill to try to prevent citywide, countywide elimination of the use of commercial-grade landscape equipment. Same type of engines used for chainsaws, weed whackers, or anything else. So we're just trying to ensure that it's not going to create some undue amount of difficulty for people to be able to do their jobs efficiently. The restrictions on noise, restrictions on time of operation are still in place. If a community, if a campus makes the decision to be exclusively of one type of blower, electric versus anything else, that's entirely their decision, and this bill allows for that. There has been question about decibel ratings, and in fact the decibel ratings with the gas-powered blowers are almost the same now as the electric ones. The main reason we have to maintain the access to gas is that electric just doesn't have the runtime yet. The battery-powered blowers that are commercially available are dying in under 10 to 15 minutes. And so in order to deal with the fact that we have more trees than we have people in this state, they shed leaves, and we have to move them around, and we even see every morning here at the Capitol people using backpack leaf blowers. So this bill is just trying to ensure that folks can continue to use them in a clean, safe, and efficient way, and then they can make their own local decisions about whether or not they can use them, but it prevents a total outright ban.
Thank you. Are there any questions for Senator Williams?
I think you have explained that bill very, very thoroughly. You just blew it right on through.
Thank you, sir.
Hang on. Senator Mallon.
Senator Steele, I just have a question. How would this bill impact the funeral home industry? We use leaf blowers quite a bit at funeral homes, so I just want to know, how would we be impacted in the funeral industry with blowers?
Well, I believe that depends on if your focus is on cremation services or burial services. I believe that you just have to be careful where you employ those, how close to the facility that you're doing it. But out of respect to the privacy of an actual funeral in occurrence, this bill would allow you to put restrictions on time of operation or anything else. But when we talk about noise, an electric blower is making the same noise as a gas blower. So this bill is just designed to protect the right to be able to use both types, but it doesn't do anything as far as giving unlimited unlimited use to it.
Further question, is it not true that we sometimes have to use gas leaf blowers to clear the curb for a funeral so families don't have to step out in puddles of water? Would you believe that to be true?
I would believe that to be true.
Me too.
The gentleman speaks to which he knows.
Thank you. Senator Watson, it's good to have you here. We have 2 Senator Watsons in the room, so it's kind of confusing. But I will tell you that your colleague said, Senator Mallow said they, and not Senator Watson, they did a great job of presenting your bill, and it's passed with flying colors, a unanimous vote. So you're good for the rest of the day to go see patients.
That's good. Signer, he was second signer, so we're all in. So
We
it's great.
We knew it. Said good to have you here this morning. Back to our bill that sucks or blows, I'm not sure which one, but I have, is this Ben Terry? Mr. Terry, you wanted to speak about the leaf blowers, or it looked like to me?
Yes.
So,
Is this my chair?
actually, you get the podium over here, you know.
I don't want to get the chair.
That's okay. You know, you just get blown off. We don't do any electrocution here.
May it please the committee, my name is Ben Terry. I live in Atlanta. I'm here speaking only on my own behalf. Although I do have a good bit of knowledge about what the sentiment is in Atlanta. On our neighborhood next door website, I posted a link to a Google Forms survey. It was 80 to 20 in favor of regulating gas-powered leaf blowers because they're too loud. This bill is unwise for two reasons. First of all, if these gas-powered leaf blowers are ever regulated by a local government, at bottom, they will be nothing more than a noise ordinance. That's the problem, is the noise. And if anyone thinks that a noise ordinance impacts them unfairly, they can ask their local Superior Court judge to intervene if they have a legal basis for doing that. But it's imprudent for this body, for the first time ever, to inject itself into this sort of issue. It's a Pandora's box. Once Georgians know that they can have their representative or senator sponsor a bill like this, then every local grievance, scores of them each session, will be at your doorstep. If Susie in Hayhira thinks that the annual parade route should not be allowed on streets with tulips because her tulips get trampled by spectators every year, she will ask you to put in a bill protecting tulips. If Toccoa tells Steve that his three-piece brass band can't busk for cash at the front door of City Hall every day, Steve is going to ask you to put in a bill to protect three-piece brass bands. And this does not even mention the people and companies with professional lobbyists. Noise ordinances are matters for city councils, county commissioners, and Superior Court judges, and not for our General Assembly, which has only 40 precious days each year to deal with far more important matters. There are 584 cities and counties in Georgia. If you pass this bill, each and every one of them will become a source of discontent and de facto litigation played out in this building, in this room, every year, forever. Think of every public hearing in your home county or home city, and then multiply it times 584. Point number two, this topic is especially ill-suited for statewide legislation. If a city enacted an ordinance, would it be citywide? Or would it only be in residential areas? Which residential areas? 50-foot wide lots? Atlanta has 50-foot wide lot zoning. Macon does not. In Atlanta, it's called R2. In Decatur, it's called R50. And every other county and city has a different system. These zoning ordinances in these localities need to be addressed specifically to make any regulation fair to everybody concerned. What if you have a psychiatric hospital in your jurisdiction? Some cities have those, some don't. What about a daycare center where children are trying to sleep? So why would you, so to stop the loudest of the leaf blowers, these organizations would have to have people manually raking the leaves. Finally, let me say this. I've heard a lot of people in the business of the lawn care business say, man, we are so close to these gas-powered backpack units being enough. We're this close, it's just not ready yet. If that's true, why doesn't this bill have a sunset provision? If this bill had a 2-year sunset provision, you would see a lot of widespread support for it. With all due respect to the senator, I think the data about these not being louder than electric units it does not meet the ear test, because I live in a neighborhood where they are relentless. We cannot use our patio, we cannot use our deck, we can't plan any activity out there, because you can be rest assured that when we have picked the time to have guests over for an outdoor event, there will be 3 leaf blowers going at that time very close to our home. For these reasons, we would ask the committee to take no action on the bill or send it to the floor with a do not pass recommendation. And if there are any questions from the committee, I'm happy to answer those.
Thank you for your testimony. Sean, I'm going to let you wrap it up, and then we'll see if there's a motion.
Oh, well, excuse me. Are there other speakers that can talk? Because I don't know how this process goes. I'm a resident. I'd like to speak to this.
We had a sign-up sheet a little earlier.
I emailed yesterday saying I would like to speak.
And what is your name?
Janine Payer. Janine Payer.
Ms. Pear, if you want to take the mic, we'll be glad to let you speak this morning.
Thank you very much. My name's Janine Payer. I had a business in light manufacturing for 25 years. We used gas and chemicals every day. This bill last year didn't get through the House, and then it was added to another bill in the Senate and didn't pass. My issue is not only the noise and the decibels, very different between gas blowers and electric. They just are. There's a low frequency decibel used in the two-stroke engines that goes through cement, goes through glass. This type of sound is what they use to clear birds off fields and disperse crowds. Pardon me, I'm a little nervous. But the electric blowers, actually, the sound goes into ambient noise. It just cannot travel as far as this low decibel sound quality. And at 90 degrees, 90 decibels loud, when you have 3 blowers going at once, because in the landscape industry, they're incented to go from lawn to lawn as quickly as they can. And in dense communities where houses are very close together, you have landscape services that come in, and it is hours long. And so it's not the same if you live out in the, outside of Atlanta or Decatur. And one size does not fit all. So if a small community or municipality wants to change, say you can't leaf blow with gas blowers for 1 month in the summer, that should be allowed, that regulation. Now, I think that's also bad for Georgia to have gas leaf blowers go on and on forever, because this causes health and hearing issues that are very serious. There's particulate matter, there's fecal matter and carcinogens, pollution that is created at the source, right on the ground. And these workers work in it for 8 hours a day, and they're having occupational hearing loss. Now, the health care costs later for these people when they're no longer in the lawn care industry the workman's comp. These fees are not good for Georgia. It's a large workforce, and they're vulnerable workers. That part, lung disease and occupational hearing loss are inexcusable, and we don't hear the lawn care companies talking about that. They've never brought it up. I wish they'd take their energy and create a bill, and I know they want to, but let's create a bill that's asking for rebates and financial help for these landscape companies, especially the mom and pops, to be able to transition, because I've spoken to board members from NALP and from the Urban Ag Council, and nowhere do they talk about that. And I know that this needs to happen. And I keep hearing from landscapers that I've spoken to, small business owners, that have said, I will not change this until there's a law. We're not going to change it. We're going to use gas. So when they change from allowing people to smoke on airplanes, let's say, or in restaurants, smokers didn't say, oh, I'll just be more polite and I won't smoke on the airplane. They didn't ban cigarette smoking, but they were allowed to make regulations that protected society as a whole. So my grievance is really ignoring the workforce that is so large and their health hazards. Unlike the construction industry, which has ways for people to monitor safe noise levels while they work. They have a noise app for the workers to use. They have things that they wear. They're encouraged to go to their supervisors to say, hey, there's a hazard here. This is not the case in the landscape industry. And I do support hardworking small business owners, family-run businesses. I had one. This part, when it's on the back of these vulnerable workers, really bothers me. And this kind of noise makes it impossible for people to do Zoom calls from home. What if you have an autistic child or you're homeschooling? It is incessant. But it's not in some communities outside of Atlanta, and no one wants to take anyone's leaf blowers away. And if you have to use it at a funeral home, I think that just having some conscientious awareness, or maybe you can't do it on a Sunday. These things right now are the case. Also, noise ordinances do not control this. I'm on the noise ordinance committee at Decatur, and we just stopped all of a sudden even moving forward. You know why? Because noise from gas leaf blowers is very hard to enforce. What, you're going to call, and who, the police are going to come out? Who would be fined? The resident who hired them? The small mom and pop that uses them? They're on to the next job. It's just, when I hear that, it just makes my blood boil, because that is not a solution for this. Anyway, I hope that you hear what I'm saying. There are electric leaf blowers that are actually super powerful, and that part of the industry is growing faster than the gas side of it. Yes, it's the gas lawn care business is the big part of the pizza pie, but this segment, the electric leaf blowing and lawn equipment, is growing fastest, because they're working at the speed of light, because honestly there are regulations coming across America, over 200, but nowhere in Georgia is there any kind of regulation in place or ban on the horizon. There are hardly any bans in the country. So this is it's just extreme for the state to control and say at the local level what's right. And I ask that you guys really think hard on this, because I think it's not a good bill for Georgia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Payer. Senator Steele, I'm going to let you wrap things up.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. As I said in my opening comments, I believe there's a great misconception about the intent of this bill and the actual words that are in it. The folks that testified today are very passionate about what they spoke about, but I think what's missed is I refer to our great research tool, Google, to find out decibel ratings, because I think that's a big point of concern. It says leaf blower noise has a range of 64 to 78 decibels. According to Dangerous Decibels, a public-private partnership that aims to reduce hearing loss, typical speech is 60 decibels, washing machines are at 75, and a chainsaw is 115. I think that if one were to stick a leaf blower up to their ear, it could be very loud. But I think that at a range of 50 or more feet, the sound noise, according to a lot of information that's very readily available, page after page of this. But this isn't an argument over decibels. This is not an argument over worker safety. The Urban Ag Council has a list of over 100 members that support and endorse this. So we don't have companies that are trying to find ways about this. But every company that we've spoken to employs both electric and gas, depending on the right job and the right time and the right place. So electric is used, but the decibels are very similar in the difference of that. So I think what we have to look at here is, does this bill allow for a neighborhood to decide not to use gas-powered leaf blowers? The answer is yes, it does allow them to make that decision. Does this bill allow a university campus or a hospital to decide not to use these? And the answer is yes, this bill allows them to decide not to use those. So this does not take away the specific local control. It just says that across a county-wide basis, we cannot have a restriction on something that is such a vital tool to keeping our communities clean and to keep Georgia beautiful. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I ask that we close comment and bring to a vote.
Thank you. Is there a motion to? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Move do pass on let's get my right LC number here. I'm sorry.
LC 510307.
Yes. Said the, is there a second? A second from Senator Watson. Said the, any further discussion? Said the, if you'll please raise your hand and vote in affirmative. All in favor, please raise your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. The, I'm sorry. Have an outburst? The, please refrain from, ma'am, this is the legislative process that we use. If you would, please excuse yourself.
He doesn't want to hear
Ma'am,
our noise.
ma'am, I'm going to ask you to stop speaking. Said the, any opposed? The, Senator Estevez, have you voted?
I have no.
Okay, are you for or against?
Yes.
Okay, so have, four in favor, 2 against, the motion passes. Said the, thank you, this meeting's adjourned. And I'll be glad to talk with you after the meeting.